All right, well, we will go ahead and get started. As you can tell, Chris is slightly perplexed as to what's going on here. But nonetheless, we would like to welcome Chris Kirk on the 10-year anniversary of your 2013 RSM Classic victory here, the second of 5 victories. Before we do get started, we'd certainly like to welcome a lot of people you probably recognize in the back, family, friends, former teammates, coaches, players, RSM Classic representatives, and RSM, everyone from the organization. Last but not least, Commissioner Jay Monahan is here for a special presentation. So with that, I will turn it over to you, to Jay.
Thank you, Doug, and thank you, Chris. And good afternoon, and welcome everyone to the RSM Classic. This is a very special week for the PGA Tour. We have a passionate sponsor in RSM who's been our partner since 2010, supporting the Davis Love Foundation and so many other worthwhile charitable causes. We have a tournament host in Davis Love III, World Golf Hall of Famer, who is so gracious with his time and his talent. And we have a host in Sea Island Resort who does Southern hospitality like no other. Today is special in another way. It is my distinct honor to present Chris Kirk with the PGA Tour Courage Award. This award is not presented annually. It's reserved for very special circumstances and equally special people. I'll read the description of the award. A person, through courage and perseverance, who has overcome extraordinary adversity, such as personal tragedy or debilitating injury or illness, to make a significant and meaningful contribution to the game of golf. In May of 2019, Chris made a very personal and courageous decision. He took a 6-month leave of absence to address alcohol use disorder and depression. These issues had taken a toll on his golf game, but much more importantly, on his well-being and his life with his family. After facing these issues head-on, Chris returned to competition 6 months later in the fall of 2019. I'm sure he would be the first to tell you the road back has been incredibly challenging. But this year, he returned to the ranks of the Tour's best, in part to the incredible tempo of his golf swing that we are all so jealous of. This past year, he earned his 5th PGA Tour title at the Honda Classic and finished number 32 in the FedEx Cup standings. But Chris's impact on the game of golf is not the singular focus of numbers on a scorecard. Look around, you'll see a great number of his peers in the room, many who call Chris a friend and a mentor. Professional athletes have an incredible platform to help others, and Chris's honesty, candor, and courage in speaking publicly about dealing with a very personal situation has inspired so many people with everyday struggles. I'd also like to recognize Chris's wife, Tani, and their 3 boys, and other friends and family in attendance today. I know this is a very proud day for all of you. The PGA Tour Courage Award comes with a $25,000 donation to a charity of Chris's choice, and RSM, who has stood by him through all of his adversity, has agreed to match this contribution. Thank you, RSM, for your generosity. Ladies and gentlemen, the 6th recipient of the PGA Tour Courage Award, Chris Kirk.
Okay, well, thank you, Jay. We'll excuse you, but don't go far because we've got a handful of pictures to include you in shortly. Chris, when I was not originally scheduled to work this event, but I got a phone call last month asking if I would be interested in coming here and sitting and moderating this special press conference with you, and I was both honored and proud to do so. The request for me, specifically me, to be here on this occasion wasn't motivated by any of your many achievements on the golf course. It was more so inspired instead by all you've achieved off the golf course as a person, as a husband, father, friend, teammate. Even though I was with you for all 5 of your victories, it's who you are as that strong, remarkable person, Chris, that resonates with me and makes me really happy to be sitting here right now as a person and as a friend to you. Knowing this award is presented to individuals deserving of its criteria that Jay just touched on, with players like Jared Lyle, Morgan Hoffman, past winners of the event. Just a couple opening comments on the award and
Sure.
What it means to you.
Yeah, thank y'all. I think everybody can probably tell that this is very much a shock to me. I had no idea that this was coming or that any of y'all were going to be here. But thank you all for being here today. It takes me back very much to April and May of 2019, and where I was at that time in my life, and I could have never imagined at that time, I didn't really feel like I was going to play golf again, much less be here with all of you and to have won again on the tour. And so I'm really just blown away. I'm beyond thankful for my family, especially for Tani, for staying with me and supporting me through these difficult years. And I just am so blessed and thankful to currently live a life better than I could have ever imagined. Just the mental clarity that I wake up with every day is an absolute blessing and a gift. But to a lot of my peers and my close friends back there, these last 4 years have been, the best years of my life, and I appreciate the camaraderie and the friendship that I've had on and off the golf course with you guys. I also remember very well back to that May of 2019, my conversations with Bill and Andy and others of the RSM team, as well as with Jay and other members of the PGA Tour staff. It was very genuine, like nobody was concerned about my golf career at that time, and I could feel that with absolute sincerity. That we're here for you. We're here for you to help you with anything that we can. I got the same feeling from Jay, is that my golf career, and it felt that way to me too. It was very relevant at the time, and so that was incredible. It's one of those things that happens in your life that everybody gets every now and then. You find out who your friends are, and I'm very, very lucky and very blessed to have a lot of people that care about me. Sometimes I wonder why, but it's been amazing just to have the group of people around me that I know don't care about if I shoot 67 or 75, but believe in me and care for me as a person.
Okay, that was very well said. One question for me, and then we'll open it up to the bigger group here. Chris, when I was making the journey, I similar to what you have done successfully, I learned a lot about myself. Some things that I was really glad to peel back the layers of the onion to, and other pieces I wasn't. So what is something that you have learned about yourself that you're particularly proud of?
Yeah, it's the process of getting sober and working steps to get to yourself, to get to a place where you can kind of be okay with yourself is certainly very much a fact-finding process, and a process where you learn a lot about yourself. And I mostly learned a lot of things that I didn't like about myself, to be honest. But I think one thing that really has defined me as a person for a long time is perseverance, determination. I have probably in excess of that, and So I'm just very thankful that I was able to set that to a good use, and set that to, how can I, from here forward, go about being the best father and husband that I can be. That's kind of been my main focus, and then eventually after that, working on becoming a professional golfer again.
Okay, well, with that, we'll open it up and take a few questions. We'll start with Gary Smits right here.
Hey, Chris. How you doing? Winning at Honda on that golf course is great at any time, but I wonder if it take you back a little bit more. June of 2020, the tour was getting back from COVID. They put together those 2 Corn Ferry Tour events. Mm-hmm. And at the Slammer and Squire, it was about 1,000,000 degrees, and you had to shoot 1,000,000 under to win it. And you talked a little bit about your journey at that point. But just that week with no fans, no TV, just golf, did winning there help in the process to where you are now? And how much did that play? I know you talked a little bit about it after you won, but looking back on it, did that play a pretty big role in where you've come?
Yeah, I would say so. That was a very special week for sure. I remember Mike and I going down there in the RV and just kind of hanging out. I remember Mike driving a bunch and getting stuck at the gas station when he couldn't get turned around. But that week, it was at that point, and I still do my best to feel this way now. But there, I was just, it was just the joy of competing. I think that during the initial stages of my time away from the game, I had a lot of really bad memories of sitting in hotel rooms by myself, playing in PGA Tour events and missing my family and just not really wanting to be there. So I got to the point where I kind of felt like golf did this to me. Golf, the pressures of professional golf and having to travel by myself all the time, and that's how I felt. I know now that that's not true, but so I really had kind of a hate a little bit for competitive golf and everything that came with it. But after getting dug into my recovery and starting to play a little bit of golf again, it was like mentally it was like starting over for me. I just kind of realized that I love playing golf. I love competing. I love trying to go beat people. And so at that time, I remember that Corn Ferry event in St. Augustine. That was just pure, like, let's go have fun and let's go make some birdies.
Chris, you talked at Honda Classic about how meaningful that victory was for you after everything you'd been through. How does this rank, given the recognition and everyone behind you and behind me right now?
I'm still pretty shocked, to be honest. I was not expecting to see anybody that's here, really. So I don't know. But yeah, I think that, like a lot of things, I currently feel a little bit undeserving. But I'm very thankful for, like I said, I'm just thankful for the people that are in this room and how much they mean to me. I hope that they see that and feel that as often as possible. But to have this group of people behind me is, I don't know. I just feel incredibly, incredibly blessed to have these people here that mean so much to me.
Any other questions? Gary?
He talked about feeling, alone in a hotel room, which, kind of coming back from COVID, that's exactly what every tour player kind of had to face, was a lot of solitude there. So in a way, did it help to be alone with your thoughts because you knew what path you were on at that point? And did it get a little bit easier and a little bit easier to go on those trips and maybe not have everybody around you? Yeah,
I wasn't by myself for years. I didn't I'll stay in a hotel room by myself, maybe once or twice a year now. But the first couple years back, I didn't stay by myself ever. And so a lot of these guys back here in the back of the room, I'm the house dad that rents a 4 or 5 bedroom house every week, and those guys stay with me, and we hang around and play Yahtzee and play cards or whatever. So that was definitely something that I made a point to do when I decided to come back and play, purely because I had all those bad memories of sitting by myself in a hotel room. I just said I'm not willing to do that anymore. If that's what I have to do to come back to the tour, then I'm not going to do it. So with the help of a lot of those guys in the back of the room, and we've continued that to now, where I was sending out a big group text last week planning out houses for the West Coast, and talked to Harmon some yesterday, I know, about houses, and so I've kind of ended up being the one to coordinate it most of the time, but it's been a huge change as far as quality of life on the road. I hope those guys feel the same. It's definitely been that way for me, where you go shoot 65, you get a bunch out of the boys when you get back, and you go shoot 74, and nobody really cares. So you just come hang out and see if you can do a little bit better at Texas Hold'em than you did on the golf course that day. So it's a really great environment, I feel like, that we've created.
Chris, is there an example of someone you've heard from who's written to you or contacted you and said, thanks for doing that and going public, it really helped change my life? I'm sure you probably have many, but is there one you could talk us through?
Yeah, that's been a part of all of this that I certainly did not expect, and certainly not really what I was going for. My initial reasoning for being very public with all of this was partially a little bit of accountability, but more than that, I spent a lot of years really lying to a lot of people, lying to my family, lying to my friends, lying to myself as much as anybody. And so once I got to the point where I could wake up in the morning and I could look at myself in the mirror and kind of be okay with who I was and what I was going to do that day, that was such a freeing feeling of just the open honesty. I've got nothing to hide, because I hadn't felt that in so long. So that was why I was kind of public and open and honest about it, just because it felt great just to say, here's who I am, and take it or leave it. But then as the years have gone on, I've gotten, a lot of people have reached out on social media and through kind of friends of friends, so there's been, I've had probably 30 or 40, maybe 50 stories that I've heard directly of people that have said things along the lines of, I saw you do this, and I figured if you could do it, and you could, with your life and your career, if you could, shut everything down and do what you had to do to get yourself better, then why couldn't I? And people that have been, I've been sober for 4.5 years, so there's a pretty sizable group of people that I still communicate with on an intermittent basis that have been sober for 4 years or 4 years and 3 months or whatever it may be, and so that's a really special thing. There's a group of people that I kind of go visit every year, coincidentally in Palm Beach Gardens, where I go and have spoken a few times and have gotten to know some of the people down there. So that was another little special connection for me, being able to win there this year.
What's that feel like for you to know you've had an effect on people?
It's amazing. Really, it's like I said, it's not something that I ever expected, but I also think that think that any of those people would have done the same for me. So I don't necessarily feel like some kind of hero or anything. I just feel like I was able to share my experience, and I'm very thankful that's been able to help a few people.
Okay, we got time for one more if we have any more. Otherwise, we can go ahead and wrap it up. All right. Well, Chris, as surprised as it may have been, congratulations on the PGA Tour Courage Award. Couldn't be happier for you.
Thank you, Doug.